his name is...
It's John Bunday. It is Monday, September 9th, and RPG number 11 is finished, and it is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for the SNES. So, for any SNES games I may have mentioned in the past, I don't own a SNES, never owned a SNES, but what I do have is one of these. That's right, the SNES Classic. So, because if you saw my 52 game game challenge videos last year, I managed to beat Soul Blazer using this. So Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and Soul Blazer aren't on stock one. I've hacked it and added games, which is great because it has like the HDMI output, so we can play it on the big TV. It doesn't use USB for the controllers. It's the same connector as like what the Wii Nunchuck actually uses. So anyway, so for people who may have heard about this game, it often gets referred to as baby's first RPG. So John, why are you playing that? So I've never played it before. Like, I heard about it, I think, I don't know, in the 2000s. Like, you know, I don't think I remember anyone talking about it or owning it when I was young, and I didn't really know that many people had SNES, to be fair. So as time went on, eventually got into the Final Fantasy series, which I've talked about in the past, and then as time went on, I thought I should probably go back and play Mystic Quest, you know, to see, you know, does it deserve like some of the comments that have been thrown at it. Many years passed, and then I think, okay, when I heard other tubers talk about the 12 RPG challenge probably 2 years ago now, I was thinking, okay, I heard this is like a short game and an easy one. I'll throw that in as like a, not necessarily a cheat game, but as in, when I say cheat, as in like, you know, if you try and do 50 to 100 hour RPGs, then this would be a good one that if you need to try and have a way of saving some time. So there's always been every time I thought about doing the RPG challenge, this game was always on the list. Always. So, because I've already beaten Chrono Trigger, and I've already beaten Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6. I mean, I did it for 4 it was the DS remake, and 5 and 6 were the GBA ports. So I wasn't going to pick any other like Final Fantasy game or any of those big heavy hitters. Don't be wrong, I've got a bunch of other SNES RPGs I want to play, but I want to go with this one for the challenge. So, enough waffling about the history of it. So, what has made this game for me even more memorable and also incredibly special is the fact that my eldest son, so those who saw my recent 52 game challenge roundup video, I said about how I beat Discworld with him, and that was the very first computer game he's ever like played. Bear in mind, Discworld, it wasn't like, you know, it's not like necessarily a traditional kind of game. It's a point and click adventure game. So, but he was more interested in like the art, you know, the backgrounds, making Rincewind the wizard move around, all that kind of stuff. You know, he wasn't figuring out the puzzles. I was just telling him what to do, and the puzzles are complete BS. So I was using a guide. Anyway, it's still a lovely game, brilliant game. Definitely recommend it, but this is a guide game. Anyway, so after beating that, like what to play next, and I thought, well, Mystic Quest isn't meant to be that difficult in regards to for an RPG. Let's give that a try. And I'm blown away with how much he's kind of like gripped onto this. Like, this game completely entranced him, and it's kind of like really fed into his imagination. Like, so pretty much all he talked about was the game. Like, he would talk about the things we've just done, and like would be talking to other people about the game, and I would have to explain, oh, we're talking about this game. So, and when we finished the game today, you know, he was actually getting, you know, for a 5-year old, you know, was getting, you know, a little bit teary and choked up because, you know, he in his mind had like built a relationship like with the NPCs, and so they all came to say goodbye as we sailed off into the sunset, quite literally, and said he was going to miss, and he was like listing out the character names because I'll explain a bit more about the NPCs of the boat in a moment. But yeah, he was like, you know, oh, we're gonna see them again, like, you know, and he said about how he wants to replay the game. So yeah, and I let him actually name the character. This isn't, to my knowledge, there isn't like an official name. Maybe there is if I read the manual, but it's not like say Cloud, you know, for example, or Tiphys. So I let him pick the name, and he picked G7J. G for Graham, which is his name. The number 7 because that's his favourite number and his lucky number, and J for John. So G7J. So that's like a name made up of the two of us. So yeah. So, but I honestly did not expect him to have this kind of reaction to the game, to become like, he enjoyed Discworld, but I don't think he necessarily understood at times what was going on. Whereas this, you know, he was controlling, you know, our character, and he was going into battles and was doing fights. Don't get me wrong, he couldn't, you know, like understand. Like, he knew when status effects happened, for example, or he knew about how to get a magic, but he wasn't able to like make the links of, oh, I should go and use a potion here, for example. Like he knew we had to heal, but and so I understood that, and even would go and occasionally use cure magic from the main menu. And at one point, he was using up all my good level spell slots for like basic enemies when we should be saying with the boss. So, but yeah, and in a way, I kind of wish there was more RPGs like this so we could do more, because I don't think we could go into like, say, a traditional Final Fantasy game because it's going to be too complex, and the ability. I should probably get more into like what the game is about now, I guess. But okay, so why is this considered like baby's first RPG? First of all, you can save anywhere. Literally, like, if there is as long as you're not in a fight, you can save. If you die in a fight, it says, do you want to give up? And it by default says no or yes, so you can redo the fight. So no going back to your last save point, it's like, do you want to have another crack at the fight or the boss? Yes. Fine. You only ever get one additional party member, but it switches out during the course of the game. So story beats make your party member change. And also, they have a set level, and they do not level up. I mean, they'll come back later in the game, but be a higher level. But you can't grind them up. They're just the level they are. And also, leveling up does make you stronger, but it's not like other games where you would get additional abilities or magic or anything. You literally just level up. You gain weapons either by story beats, because the game uses all the weapons have a like an overworld or in-world use. So you can use bombs to open up doorways. You can use like these claws to climb walls. You can use a sword to hit a switch. You can use your axe to cut down trees in your way. So the game needs you to have these things, and there's also upgraded versions you can get as well. So, and armor, you know, that you don't buy armor in shops. I mean, you might be able to buy like the odd like accessory, but it's like there's no, oh, what stat advantages are there? It's just nope. It goes into your inventory, into the armor section, and it just builds upon. So there's no buying and selling of armor, it's just always builds upon. So very simplistic in that way. So all your magic you find in chests around the world and in dungeons. You find it. So if you find some magic in the dungeon, it's probably they want you to have it for the boss encounter, because you don't have. You still have MP, but it's not like one pool of MP. So the magic is split into 3 categories: white, black, and wizard. So white is run, cure, heal, and life. So cure, self-explanatory. Heal is to undo any status effect. Petrified, confusion, blind, doesn't matter. It will take care of it. And life is this game's version of Phoenix Downs. So yeah, and pretty much every single NPC you get will have life. Even if they don't really have any other magic, they'll always have life to bring you back, which is great. So black is things like fire, thunder, ice. Now wizard that's the high level magic, and that is like white meteor, flare, and also lightning. I think that's so you have like, as you level up, you get like more MP for each of those 3 types. So in other words, if you use white magic, using from the white magic pool of MP, black from the black MP, and then wizard from the wizard pool. So you only have a small amount of wizards slots. You get like an MP refill item, which is called a seed. So you can do that. You can recharge your like in that way, or use ins. So yeah, the NPC ally also has AI. In other words, unless you can use I think it's the Y button. Yeah, the Y button to turn the AI off or on. Because usually it could be quite good, because the game will kind of cheat in your favor. So say if you go into a round of a fight, and you would normally, if any other RPG, you would pick what you're doing and what your party member is doing. Okay. Let's say you decide to swing your sword, and then you die. Before your party member goes, they will use life and bring you back, even though there's no way before the round went into action that they knew they would need life. But the game goes, oh, you're dead, we're just going to bring you back to life. Ignore whatever else the character was going to do. So that way, using the AI can actually be to your advantage. One of the disadvantages, it's a double-edged sword, is that the game will prioritize your health and your status status over everything else. So if you have a character who knows like cure and heal magic, usually that's fine. It's also good. It means you don't have to worry about taking care of yourself. The problem is with a character called Ruben, who has only the life spell, but still has the same mentality, meaning he will start using up all of your stock of cure and heal potions to look after you. So I went into a dungeon, I had loads of cure potions, and next thing I know, he's using up all of them. I'm like, no, if we need to heal, I'll happily heal, I'll use the cure magic, but the AI, so I had for that character, and when he came back later, I would have to turn off the AI, because I couldn't risk him, like, don't get me wrong, like, I didn't have to rely on potions that much during the game, but they're kind of like, your lifesaver as such. Also, they don't actually heal you that much. The basic cure potions, they do, like, I think 350 health or something, which, when you've got, like, 1500, it's not going to do that much. So, yeah. 1500 total health, for example, once you've leveled up a whole bunch. So, yeah. So, don't get me wrong. Oh, and sorry, another thing as well is there are no random battles. You see the enemies on the map. So that means that you could clear out a floor of a dungeon, and you can walk around without issue. If you leave the dungeon and come back, they all respawn. So just keep that in mind, because my son did do that once or twice, and I'm like, no. I mean, also that is how, if you want to grind beyond what a dungeon might give you, that's what you do. You leave and come back, and you can fight more. But otherwise, you know, then that you can see all the fights you're going to do, but at the same time, that might make it a bit more a slog, because like, oh, I have to fight all these things rather than having the randomness element. So, yeah, yeah. But that now I need to kind of like split in my mind, like split my opinion. Like, do I think this is a good game to play, or am I letting like the experience I have with my son completely color that? And of course, it's going to. So, because if I was playing it without him, I mean, I would get through it, but I would probably spend like the majority of my time like either watching YouTube as well or on my phone. Like you do not really have to pay attention to this. Don't get me wrong, there are some fights with basic enemies where they decide to like completely spam status effects like Petrify in Doom, for example, and it's just like. So, but otherwise, the majority of the fights you can just kind of like, you know, just completely check out. So if you're just if you know your RPGs, yeah, I can see why you probably might not be that, you know, interested in playing this. The story is like, you know, it's retrieve the 4 crystals and save the world kind of story. So plenty of other Final Fantasy games have done it a lot better. But again, my son loved it. He loved that idea of going and retrieving the crystal, and he would tell, like, because we walked to school with one of our neighbours who also gamers. He'd be talking about like, oh, we got the wind crystal today, you know, and saying all that kind of stuff. So it's and I would never want to take that experience, you know, away from him. So saying like, oh no, this is like a basic game. It's like, no, it's, you know, I hope it's a memory like he can cherish for a long time. So anyway, should you play Final Fantasy Mystic Quest? If you're an experienced JRPG player, unless if you want to either complete the set of SNES JRPGs, because there is actually like there's a graphic out there showing them all, which, you know, I'm kind of like crossing them off as well, very very slowly. So unless if you're looking to be a completionist in that sense, you know, you're not really going to get anything from this. Or if you're someone who's been listening to these watching these videos but never really played RPGs, like, we beat the game in just under 18 hours. So it's still a chunk of time, but also I thought it'd be a lot less. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be like a sub 8-hour game, but no, was double that. Well, way over double that. So yeah, if you play a lot of JRPGs, unless if you want to say you've beaten it, there's not really much point. For everyone else, this might make you more interested in the genre. Or if you have children who, I mean, don't get me wrong, if they're teenagers, this is probably going to be like, why am I replaying this? But younger ones, this could be a way to bond with them. So anyway, I hope all that ramblings made sense. You know, the whiskey's helped, but now I've got to try and find something to try and. Well, he's already said he wants to do Discworld 2 next, so that's next thing we're going to play together. Oh, okay, sorry. For those thinking like you beat this very quickly after your last JRPG. Oh, I said about after Discworld. So we started playing this since June, July. So it would be like half an hour, 3/4 an hour, like after doing dinner and before going his younger brother from nursery. So like finish school, I go off, make dinner, and then like once we've eaten, as long as like he hasn't been sent a book home by school for us to read, we could then play this before going to get his brother. So, and yeah, so it took a little while to do, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, having something like this is great because I don't have to worry about him like ruining an original SNES, you know, and also having to worry about trucking up the CRT for him. Don't be wrong, I'll eventually do that for the Mega Drive, but for him, but yeah. Anyway, enough waffling. Till next time, take care.